Are you thinking about buying Critter Cove? If yes, then this video is for you. This game reminds me of Animal Crossing and the My Time series, so if you're a fan of those, you'll definitely want to check this out. Everyone has a different playstyle and preference, so in this video, I will just showcase everything as it is and let you decide if the game is right for you. Naturally, there might be some spoilers in this video. I've added timestamps so you can jump to the game aspects that are important to you. Keep in mind that the game is in early access, so some information here might change in the future. I plan to cover this game again once it releases to 1.0 version. Let's start with the game basics. Critter Cove is a single-player game released on Steam last September 10 as early access. There are no plans to make it multiplayer. The developers plan to release it on both Xbox and PlayStation around 2026 after the game leaves early access. Unfortunately, the devs cannot commit launching the game on the Switch as Critter Cove is quite demanding and porting it will be difficult. But they are waiting for a new Nintendo console and they will try their best to release Critter Cove there. It currently supports these languages, and here are the minimum spec requirements. Now let's get something out of the way. I have personally encountered a few visual glitches and bugs, which is understandable for a game in early access. Other players have reported similar experiences. Honestly, I don't mind these minor bugs. They can be quite amusing and are usually resolved by restarting the game. However, I did encounter a more significant issue where I got stuck on a quest when trying to invite a townie to my town. Because the quest got stuck, I was not able to get the townie back to my town until I reloaded an old save file, making me lose some of my progress. I've also seen reports of players getting stuck on other quests and experiencing problems with new townies not spawning correctly. These kinds of bugs affect the gameplay, so do keep in mind that these issues happened and might happen still. That said, I am impressed by the developers' responsiveness. The two issues I mentioned were resolved within 2 days of being reported. So while you might encounter bugs, rest assured that the dev team is quick to address them, as long as players report it. For the graphics, all footage shown in this video starting from now will be from my own gameplay. The game is visually stunning both on land and underwater. Exploring this post-apocalyptic world and uncovering how it ended up this way has been thrilling. However, I noticed that the visuals can be a bit oversaturated for my taste, especially at lower graphic settings. I hope they'll add a saturation adjustment option in the future. If you are experiencing bugs or choppy gameplay, check out the graphics quality settings. There's even a low memory mode for PCs with 8GB RAM or less. Adjusting these settings might help smooth out your gameplay. For the music, I am playing the main theme for this video. This changes depending on the location and sometimes it just stops completely. I do think that the music is cute, but it can get repetitive at times for me. I've also disabled the Critter Speak in my own playthrough. The voices of the townies is similar to the sound that villagers in Animal Crossing make, but I don't know, it's just not for me. So luckily, there is an option to disable it here. Regarding settings, customization options are limited, mainly focusing on graphics. You cannot remap controls yet, but this feature is planned for a future update. If you are prone to motion sickness in video games like me, don't worry. You can lower mouse sensitivity and enable a motion sickness focus, which adds a crosshair to your screen. This simple addition really helped me, especially when I was still getting used to the game and graphics. Eventually, once I got used to it, I removed this helper so I can enjoy the beautiful scenery more. For the story, you were hired by a character named Renard to the town of Critter Cove. This town used to attract visitors from all over the world, but now it's mostly known for dirty streets and trash-strewn beaches. As the player, it's your job to turn things around for this struggling town. Critter Cove exists in a post-apocalyptic world primarily composed of islands. While the map might seem empty at first glance, There's a lot going on underneath the water. You will discover sunken cities, lots of shipwrecks, and scattered notes that offer clues about how the world ended up in this state. The character creation in this game is simply incredible. You can be a human, or a human with animal features like antlers, a tail, or wings. Alternatively, you can create your own unique creature. A wolf, cat, deer, sea creature, snake, hyena, tiger, or even a robot. All features can be mixed and matched. There are various patterns to choose from, which you can customize to your heart's content. Your character can be monochromatic or as colorful as you like. You can also adjust your body shape and height, which will affect how you look compared to other townies. All of these options and customization will surely bring about a wide array of unique characters for different players. I've personally spent hours crafting my character. Initially, I wanted to create a bird, but I ended up with a wolf. It's inspired by Whitney, a character from Animal Crossing, since my favorite type of villager in Animal Crossing are the wolves. Later on, you will be able to unlock the ability to change your character's appearance in the game. So take your time building your character as much as you want, but don't stress out too much about it because you can always modify it later. You can also see the other character designs in the game first and use that as your inspiration for your own character if you're having trouble deciding on your look. In this game, you can customize your house and your town. As you can see here, I've already placed some items here and there at the center of my town. I've placed some park benches, some barbells, and even a skeleton. You can also decorate the beach area by adding hot dog stands, a hammock for chilling, sandcastles, and other stuff. For your house, you can change the ceiling, the wallpaper, and the flooring. You can decorate this space as much as you'd like, and in a future update, there would be an option to expand your house. I haven't really focused on that yet, as you can see from my bare house. In order to place items and decorations down, you have to right-click on it from your inventory and place it down like this. There is an option to snap to grid, but you can basically place the item down freely. Even the rotations are not locked to certain angles only. One thing I didn't like about decorating is that after you've placed the item, in order to remove it, you have to pick it up by holding E on individual items. So if you're planning to do a lot of decorating, there would be a lot of moving involved and you would have to hold the E button every time you want to pick up an item. After nearly 20 hours of gameplay, I've unlocked a variety of recipes, but there's still much more to discover. The early access roadmap promises even more additions in the future. I'm excited to see how vibrant and lively the town will become once I acquire more decorations and resources to craft and decorate with. Next, let's go to the in-game mechanics. We'll start with the minor game mechanics. In Critter Cove, you can harvest a variety of crops throughout the town and surrounding islands. You'll also obtain seeds which you can later plant yourself both on land and underwater. While I'm not a huge fan of the watering controls and animations, the overall process is straightforward. You craft planter boxes, plant seeds, and water them daily until they are fully grown. One quirk I've noticed is that if you have multiple seed types in your inventory, the game automatically selects the first one unless you manually equip your preferred seed. For watering, you simply stand in front of the plant and press the action button. You can drag the watering can to adjacent planter boxes to water them as well. Personally, I'd prefer a faster watering animation for individual plants or a smoother animation for watering multiple plants at once. Fishing in Critter Cove is similar to Animal Crossing. Once you've acquired a fishing rod, you face the water, cast your line, wait for a bite, and then press the action button to reel in your catch. For cooking, you'll need a campfire, cooking pot, or oven. I currently use a cooking pot, which requires some form of wood supply to start the fire. Interestingly, when selecting items to start the fire, you can access your global inventory. However, when cooking itself, you're limited to items in your backpack. I've seen similar feedback on the game's Discord server, and it seems the developers plan to allow cooking from the global inventory in a future update. There are two approaches to cooking. First, you can experiment by combining random food items, though there's a risk of creating an inedible slop. Alternatively, once you've learned a recipe, you can select it, choose your ingredients, and even cook multiple portions at once. You can discover recipes through trial and error or by exploring the world. You'll find scattered notes with written recipes. Currently, there's no in-game way to view found recipes, but the developers plan to add this feature. For now, you'll need to take notes or screenshots to remember recipe details. All of the things I mentioned so far are just minor game mechanics. The main focus of Critter Cove revolves around town building, crafting, and exploration. Town building is crucial. Opening shops and decorating your town with various items directly impacts your income from tourists. As you earn more money, you can improve your town further, attracting even more tourists. This forms the basic game loop that will help you rebuild the town of Critter Cove. Tourism is your primary source of passive income. Tourists visit your island every 3 days or so. For each shop, you need to assign a worker from your townies to generate revenue. Each character has different work preferences, and the shop's performance depends on the assigned worker. Crafting is essential for creating items and decorations to place in your town. You will eventually have multiple workstations as you advance. One feature I appreciate is that when interacting with a machine, you simply choose the item you want to craft and it automatically uses the necessary materials from your global inventory. Some machines will take some time to finish processing, so you'll need to manage your workstations carefully to avoid running out of supplies. You'll need a lot of materials as you progress. If you're attempting to craft something and lack the required materials, you can hover over the item to see how to obtain it. For example, if I don't have a metal frame in my inventory, the game tells me I can craft it using a fabricator. This process can get complex. To make a metal frame, you first need to process metal into a metal beam using a forge. Then, use the metal beam in a fabricator to create the frame. Other items need to be directly obtained from the world. Raw materials like wood and stone can be easily picked up around town or obtained via salvaging. However, special items like power boxes or old furniture require more effort to find. This brings us to the last major mechanic: exploration. In Critter Cove, you can explore both on land and under the sea. You will eventually acquire a boat, which starts off basic but can be upgraded with additional features. The developers plan to add more boat upgrades and a new ship type in a future update. There are several islands and shipwrecks around your main island where you can gather more items. One notable location is the Sunken City. Underwater, you'll discover old items from the pre-apocalyptic world. You can either pick up these items or dismantle them. Dismantling enough of the same type of item sometimes allows you to learn the recipe for crafting that item. I enjoy how it feels like I'm researching artifacts from the old world and reverse engineering them to craft them myself. At the start of the game, you can only stay underwater for a few seconds. As you progress, you'll acquire items that extend your underwater time and even increase your swimming speed. Don't worry about running out of materials. Items in the world replenish after storms, which will occur randomly. There's no skill tree in this game. To make actions easier, you need to upgrade your diving equipment and find recipes for better crafting machines. I haven't found a way to upgrade the basic tools you start with, but your tools will not break no matter how many times you use it. In order to sell items, you have to go to Renard's shop, which is only open for around 7 AM to 5 PM, I think. A quality of life improvement I'd love to see is the ability to sell multiple items at once, as currently, you have to click on each item individually. You also cannot access your global inventory from the shop. For quests, you can get main storyline missions from NPCs. Keep in mind that quests can overlap. Sometimes you'll receive 2 quests simultaneously, but to progress with one, you might need to complete the other one first. If you're struggling with a quest, check your other missions, and the reward from another quest might make the first one easier. You can also accept mini-quests from the bulletin board, which usually involve giving specific items to townies to earn money. You can pin a quest in your journal, and your compass in the upper right of the UI will point you in the correct direction. For instance, if I pin the Talk to Crab quest, the compass points to the item I need to progress that quest line. The map is also incredibly helpful. If you have multiple items or blueprint retrieval quest, it will all be listed at the upper right corner of the map with numbers. The location of needed items or blueprints are then marked on the map with the corresponding numbers to avoid confusion. Be careful though, the compass and map only point to the location of a special item needed for specific quests. They won't guide you back to the NPC who gave you the quest after you've retrieved the item, and it won't usually guide you on other items that you can get from multiple locations. You cannot romance NPCs in Critter Cove, but you can still make them your friends, give them gifts, and employ them in various places around town. They will also give you quests and exchange items with you. Once you start exploring the other islands, you'll encounter shipwrecked critters. You need to do a quest for them, then they will go to the town with you. The critters found in the islands are randomized. You can ignore the castaway if you don't like them, then wait for a storm so that a new townie will appear at the island instead. You can also save and reload the game before the storm passes to get a new townie. Once you invite a new townie to your town, they will stay at a tent first. Increase your friendship with them by talking to them every day so that they will eventually move into a permanent house. You can have up to 14 villagers, including the first 2 default townies. There is currently no way to evict the townie, but this will be included in the first major update. Next, I'll cover some frequently asked questions and discuss the quality of life features in the game. The controls are straightforward, though you can't rebind them yet. This feature is planned for a future update. Some controls aren't intuitive. For example, to pick up this item, you need to hold the E button, not just press it. The game doesn't specify this, which can be confusing. The controls are now much smoother compared to the demo before EA was released. During the demo before, it was kind of clunky, especially the swimming, but that has improved a lot for early access. While the game still needs polishing, I'm pleased with the progress so far. Regarding inventory management, you start with a full 40-slot inventory. The first 8 slots are reserved for tools and food, while the rest are for other items. There's no need to upgrade your inventory. For clothing, you have dedicated slots. However, items like the scuba mask for underwater exploration take up an inventory slot and are visibly worn by your character. There's no option for separate cosmetic clothing, so if you want to see your character without the mask on land, you'll need to unequip it, which then occupies inventory space. The chest system is convenient. All chests in your town are connected, giving you a global inventory. You can place chests inside or outside houses for easy access, though you can't place them on other islands. Like I discussed in the video, some workstations can also access materials from your global inventory. Unfortunately, there's no auto-sort or auto-stack feature for items. You can drag and drop items or right-click to transfer them to storage. Right-clicking an item will stack it with similar items in a chest if present. You can also use Shift plus click to split stacks as needed, though I rarely use this feature in the game. Regarding in-game time, one day lasts about 30 minutes. This can be shorter if you sleep early, or longer since sleeping is not mandatory. You can stay up as long as you like and there's no penalty for it. It can get a little bit too dark when exploring at night though. But it's nice to be able to relax and take your time going home while enjoying looking at the stars and the moon. Your stamina will run out eventually, but you can always eat food to replenish it instead of sleeping. You can save the game anytime by pressing escape and then F5. The game also creates hourly backup saves, allowing you to revert up to 5 in-game days if you encounter a bug or make a mistake. Each character you make has separate save slots. There are no seasonal changes in the game. The only weather change you'll encounter is storms, which reset shipwrecked NPCs and salvageable items. Special events and celebrations aren't available yet but are planned for future updates. The map shows the locations of items needed for quests like I mentioned earlier. It also shows your home, the shops, your character's position, and NPC locations once you reach a certain relationship level with them. Moreover, you can use an item to see nearby resources which will appear as icons on the map. For traveling, the only mode of transportation I've found aside from walking and diving is the boat. There's no fast travel yet, but you can upgrade your boat with storage and a lamp. I'm hoping that we'll be able to increase the boat's speed in the future. There are some new transportation tools planned for the future as well. Pets are not available in the game, which is understandable given the characters. While you can replay the game with self-imposed challenges or themed islands, the ability to change your character in-game and the planned feature to evict villagers means you might prefer to stick with your original save file. You can simply modify your town and playstyle as you go. If you're planning to buy this game, check out my next video for helpful tips and tricks to get started on the right foot. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to know about the game. Consider subscribing for more cozy live sim content.